We got a couple of rants coming up today, Lee, and I don't think you'll know what they're for. I think.
Well, let me tell you what I have to say about.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carcello in beautiful Los Angeles, California, joined by my best friend in the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, here on an April Fool's Day. Always my April Fool, Lee Elias. Lee, how you doing today, buddy?
Did you call me a fool?
I mean, technically, Zavi's the April Fool because it's his birthday.
It's his birthday. But did you just call me a fool?
Yeah, but in a good way. In a good way.
Okay, Motley Fool kind of thing.
There we go. Exactly.
Springtime is strong here. Very, very colorful here, Ray. Fool. Check yourself. Ray, doing great. A lot of great news today. A lot of great sports topics today. Yes. A lot of great geek topics today. I'm actually going to let you get right into it because this is going to be a good show. There's a lot of actually positive stuff too. Like
yes.
So I'm looking forward to talking today. This has been it's like a springtime episode. It's like a springtime episode. Like, oh, the thing's blooming. Yay.
Yes. Hope springs eternal. And of course, that means we're kicking things off a little bit with baseball. It was opening day this past week.
Beautiful.
And I am thrilled as always. So many stories. The Phillies are in first. The Yankees are in first.
I was just going to say, everyone's winning.
Yes, it's of course very, very early, but of course the big story probably out of this opening day weekend was the Yankees not only swept the Brewers, but the Yankees did it in historic fashion. Austin Wells makes history. He's the first catcher in Major League history to hit a home run as the leadoff man, a leadoff home run on opening day. And that is, of course, a lot of fun. But the biggest thing is that everybody's talking about is these new Yankee bats, Lee. Everybody's up in arm over the Yankee bats. They're called torpedo bats or bowling pin bats.
They're not just the Yankee bats anymore.
That's true. Well, to be fair, they were actually introduced into baseball last year. Cody Bellinger used them in Chicago.
Nobody noticed.
And nobody noticed, right? Giancarlo Stanton used it last year. Nobody noticed. But now the Yankees hit a historic amount of home runs, 15 home runs in 3 games, 9, including 9 on Saturday. By the way, Aaron Judge had 4 of those home runs, which is the most through 3 Yankee games ever for a player. And he doesn't use the torpedo bat. He's like, I hit 55 home runs with the regular bat. Why am I going to change my bat? That's a great argument, Aaron Judge. But everybody's like, oh, the Yankees are only winning because of the bats now. It's all about the bats. Even though Ryan Jeffers now uses the bat and Ellie De La Cruz got the bat, and there's nothing illegal about the bat. Lee, people are freaking out because the Yankees, basically, for those who don't know, the bats now, instead of tapering off and getting wider at the end, they put a little bit wider, more towards the label, where they feel like players make more contact. Because what a concept! Let's hit the ball with the biggest part of the bat. The Yankees have brought in an MIT physicist to tell them that. What a concept! Lee, what are your thoughts on the batgate?
There's no batgate. The Yankees would not have used those bats if it was not approved by the MLB. It was obviously approved. They obviously also got a one-up on most teams in activating this, or they were just the first team to do it broadly. It also didn't help that they hit 22 runs that day or whatever it was, 21.
They had 20 runs that day. Yeah.
20 runs. So that's what garnered the attention, because the original story was, oh, wow, the Yankees blew out another team.
Yeah.
You know, and then it became, oh, wait a minute, they're using these illegal bats, which was the press being stupid. And then the press quickly went to, oh, wait, if they're using them in the open, they must not be illegal. And now everybody's using them, all right, at least trying them out.
There's already shipments of these bats going. The Louisville Bat Company has been mass producing them as fast as possible.
Right.
They're going out to every team in the league.
Yeah, it's legal. The Yankees were just the first team to use it to their advantage. It's that simple, all right? 100%. And it's an even playing field. You don't get to have those advantages for long within the MLB.
And you know what? I think this is good for the game. The game has been struggling lately, and this goes back to the home run race of 98 that brought the game back following the strike. pitching has become dominant, very dominant the last few years, with every pitcher being able to throw 100 miles an hour now, it seems, pinpoint control. You're seeing baseballs do things like with slurves and knuckle curves that they've never been able to do before. This is just starting to level the playing field a little bit, and you're going to see offense go up around the league. And this is what happens, is that teams adjust. It is strategically, again, it's like the addition of batting gloves or going back to the 1920s and they put webbing between the thumb and forefinger. Like
it's that simple, right? Like this is an evolution of batting. MLB obviously didn't make it loud. I don't know who paid them off not to do that. That definitely happened. Okay, because usually when those rule changes come out, people say something.
Right.
This one inconspicuously was very quiet. But like you said, this probably wasn't a rule this year. I've seen Alex Boehm on the Phillies using them. Alex Boehm using a torpedo bat. Yeah. The proof will be in the pudding. If home runs skyrocket, it's the bat. And then they're going to have to figure that out. Pitchers are going to hate it. The game evolves. I actually give MLB credit for like kind of greenlighting something without 75 years of research. Before deeming and 55 spring trainings. Yeah, before they
still won't put in the balls and strikes challenges, but they put in brand new baseball.
They put in new bats. Yeah, it's pretty stupid, but it was a good start for baseball. Nothing like a good controversial story to start the year, and of course the Yankees leading the way. That's why I think this was planned a little bit.
Yes,
but it's also, if they hit 5 home runs that day or 3 home runs, no one would have said a word.
Nobody would have noticed. Nobody would have noticed. It would just been like, oh, look at Aaron Judge doing Aaron Judge things. Which again, by the way, Aaron Judge doesn't use that bat. Like for everybody like complaining about Aaron Judge doesn't use the bat. He doesn't want to because he doesn't have to.
But science into the sport.
Oh, and by the way, and Francisco Lindor used the bat and went for 0-11 in the opening series for the Mets.
Yeah.
So
you got to make the contact for it to work.
Well, right, exactly. And the thing is that again, and baseball said it, the bats are within legal parameters. The length of the bat hasn't changed. The weight of the bat hasn't changed. The width of the bat, the maximum width, is still 2.61 inches. Okay, that's all this is. The difference is they move from the top of the bat more to the middle of the bat. Everybody who's freaking about 2.61 inches, because that's still bigger than any kind of bat you're carrying between your legs, all right, give me a freaking break.
Oh, Ray went in there. Ray had some tape measure there for the listening. He had a prop. He actually showed us what 2.1 whatever 6 inches.
It's not a lot. It's still the same.
I mean, listen, when they ask if the bats are compensating for something, the answer is yeah. They are.
Yeah, they're compensating for 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, listen, as long as like the games are not all 20-3 or whatever, that would be a problem. That's not happening.
To be fair, there have been plenty of pitchers duels early. It's too early to
again, if you didn't get that score, we wouldn't be talking about it. But like I said, if every game was 20-1 or 20-19, that might be a problem, but that's not happening.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, the Brewers had a bad day.
Yes, two bad days. Because even that on opening day, the Yankees only won 4-2.
Yeah, it's
a very typical baseball score, right? So it's So again, folks just looking for something to complain about, the old fuddy-duddies of baseball who again,
I like it, Ray. I like evolution.
I love it.
I love it.
I love the bigger bases. I love the new bats. I think add the idea of doing the double softball base, so that where you have that orange base where the base runner running through, so you don't have any collisions at first base anymore. We should do that. Add the balls and strikes replay. Let's go. Modernize the game. Let's go.
After 20 more years, we'll get those robot umps.
Yeah. Speaking of rule changes, this came down last night in the NFL. There is a contingent of owners, Lee.
Yeah.
Who are working to once again try to ban the Tush Push.
Yeah, and guess what's not going to happen?
They're not going to ban the Tush Push.
They actually tabled it, and it's no future plans to bring it back up. The argument being, this is a rugby play, not a football play. And everybody collectively in Philadelphia went, it's funny because we have a rugby player on the team.
Exactly.
No, I wish this is so stupid. There's no reason to outlaw that play. There's no reason to take that play away. Only one team is doing it well.
Right.
All right.
Actually, two now. To be fair, Buffalo is actually doing well in the regular season. Buffalo had great success doing it similarly.
But the Eagles have perfected it, and it's a play. So either adapt or die. I don't know what to tell you. You can have to change the rules pretty drastically to stop that play from happening.
And that's what a lot of the coaches actually said. Mike Tomlin went on the record and he basically said, he's like, look, I feel that it's bad that we're penalizing a team for innovating. It's like maybe the rest of the league should look at trying to innovate as well.
Right. Well, or how about the fact of like, I don't understand why that's not like a football play. How are you going to change that so that you can't do it? Because you're going to have to make a rule of when there's 1 or 2 yards to gain, these players cannot be part of this play. Now that's not football.
The thing that I think that if they are thinking about making any change is that it's illegal for a defensive player to shove another defensive player from behind to try to get through the line.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I think that you get rid of that, and I think because that's going
to open up a whole can of worms, though, man.
Well, the reason why they have that rule is to try to prevent concussions, but the thing is that again, I understand the argument at least that like, well, if the offense can do it, why can't the defense do it?
Right.
Right. And so I understand that argument to a degree, but if anything, you don't ban the play, you ban the restrictions on stopping the play.
Yeah, look, it's only a couple more seasons before the Eagles become the new evil empire. So we got to become the underdogs right now because we just won the Super Bowl. For those of you listening, the Eagles actually won this year's Super Bowl. I have the hat and the jersey, but it's right there. It says champions.
You got newspaper clippings.
Yeah. I showed you that. Yeah, I'm looking at a banner over here. There's a whole box of stuff over here, Ray. I can't reach it right now. The point being is the Eagles have won the Super Bowl, and no one likes us, and we don't care.
Yeah, no. Again, it would need 75% of the owners to.
It's not going to happen.
It will not happen.
It's a football play. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
I've always liked the name brotherly shove more than tush push, but that's okay. Yeah,
but again, a lot of coaches have also come out and said. Mike Vrabel said, "You want to ban a great offensive play? Makes my job easier." Great, So as a defensive coach, but yeah, no, it's just one of those things where everybody's got to shut up.
Yeah, shut and go away, please.
That's it. The game is evolving. Embrace it. So something that is not evolving is the New York Giants.
What are you talking about? You got now 2 new quarterbacks.
Last week, I was celebrating Jameis Winston's signing.
You were.
I was celebrating. I was so thrilled. And then, literally hours after we recorded, the Giants signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal for, $21 million, 10.5 guaranteed. And there's 2 things that I think of this. First off, it's unnecessary. Nobody wants Russell Wilson there. I don't know what they're trying to do, what they're trying to capture. He went 6-6 as a Steeler last year. He seems to be washed up Wilson. He's washed up, right? I like Jameis Winston because he's younger. He's exciting. Is he going to probably turn the ball over? Sure. But at least there's still potential there, right? And you can try to get something out of your receivers. And you signed him to a 2-year deal. But what to me this thing is that now this throws a wrench into your plan, Lee, where you thought the Giants were going to draft Shedeur Sanders.
I don't think you're going to draft Shedeur Sanders. That's how I'm saying it. I'm not saying I think they will. I think you're going to. I still think you're going to. Hence the 1-year deal.
I think it's even less likely now that we go for a quarterback. I think it's actually less likely.
No, I think you get a quarterback.
I don't know.
Giants I hope lose their mind if you don't draft a quarterback.
Then if we don't draft a quarterback, we should be thankful. This is a terrible quarterback class.
Well, what else, who are you going to draft? Who do you want?
Either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, either the best pass rusher in the class, or the dual threat wide receiver cornerback, which by the way, we need both those positions.
Yeah, that's true. I just don't think you guys can deny the star power of Shedeur from a Giant standpoint. But maybe I'm wrong. That's what I'm basing this off of. Right?
There's also rumors.
Yeah.
There's also rumors that Cleveland is trying to trade with the Cowboys the number 2 pick because Dallas wants Shedeur Sanders.
Sure. Well, that would be, if that happens, that's exactly who they'd want. Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And then obviously Cam Ward is going to be a Titan with the number 1 overall pick. And honestly, I honestly kind of hope that happens because then Dak, who would go to Cleveland, he'll rot there. Shedeur will flounder as a Cowboy. The Giants will get, again, one of the best players in the draft. And then we can get a quarterback next year when there's quarterbacks to choose from.
That's fair. I like your thought process of logic that the Giants have clearly shown so much, strategy and great logistical. They've made such great logistical choices in the last few years. I'm sure they'll do the same thing of what you just said right now. Did I mention that the Eagles won the Super Bowl? We had the best running back in the league. I'm gonna tell you right now, Ray. If Saquon goes to the Eagles, I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping.
If I wasn't already sick, I would be more sick now.
I'm gonna say this again. There's only one direction for the Giants to go. This has got to be rock bottom for the franchise in the last 30 years.
It's got to be.
Gotta be.
It's the worst era since the 70s.
Yeah, it's bad. I said 30 years. I should have said 50.
Yeah. No, the last time the Giants were this bad was the 70s.
Right.
Anyway, moving on to from bad teams to great teams. The Final Four is set in the NCAA. Just very briefly touch on that. We talked about it a bit last week. No surprises, no upsets. All the 1 seeds are in the NCAA Final Four. I'm still picking Duke because why not?
Well,
take your pick. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
This is the least I paid attention to the tournament, and I think in my life.
Yeah, honestly. I think so too. I think there's other stuff going on too right now that's just more interesting to me than the men's tournament. But you said it, 4 number 1s.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I guess that's a great scenario, but Duke's the obvious pick. I mean, they have 1 less loss than everybody else.
Yeah, like it just.
I mean, it's tough to pick. I mean, I'm going to go for Auburn. Florida is a good matchup.
That's actually a great matchup. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you want to see the people doing the Gator thing again? Is this? I mean, I'm actually just more interested in the. People are going to think I'm show, but I've been more interested in the women's.
No, absolutely. UConn beat USC. That's a 2 seed. UConn now again the 24th appearance in the women's Final Four, which is the most ever. There's better storylines in the women's tournament.
Yeah, I like Gio Auriemma. I mean, I'm a fan of his coaching.
One of the greatest coaches of all time.
UCLA. I mean, that's a nice story there. I mean, obviously, South Carolina. I'm a huge fan of Dawn Staley, just humongous. Yep. I've been a fan of her since she was in Philly, coaching in Philly. So
yeah,
this is going to be a good one. Likely, I mean, it's tough to UConn, South Carolina would be a matchup I'd want to see. Auriemma versus Dawn Staley. Not that I'm against the coaches from Texas or UCLA in the women's tournament, but I'm looking forward to those games.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Gino Auriemma, what a name.
Here we go. I'm going to take UConn and Duke. UConn for the ladies.
That's it, right.
Duke can be said properly for basketball.
Duke.
We say it improperly for football because
they have a football team.
Yeah, the Giants keep taking quarterbacks from
I think Duke is a safe bet, but look, the Final Four is a good Final Four.
Yeah,
from a bad, but this has been a largely boring tournament.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, people are gonna say, "Oh, that's not true. There were upsets." Yeah, there were upsets early on, and then they just the cream rose to the top.
Yes, very much so. Moving from college ball to professional basketball, the playoffs almost completely set now. Less than 8 games to go.
All right, Sixers. This is the year for us not to do anything.
Yeah, the Sixers have been eliminated. The Nets have been eliminated. And the East is almost all but set. Technically, the Raptors still have a slight chance, but pretty much the top 10 teams, I can't believe I'm saying still top 10. Top 10 teams are set for the East.
So lame.
Yeah, you're gonna see probably the Bulls take on the Hawks in the first play-in game, and the Heat take on the Magic in the second. And then again, you'll have your top 6, which will be the Cavs, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Pacers, the Pistons, and the Bucks. And really, there's enough of a gap between everybody that even with 8 games to go, I don't see any movement, Lee. So it looks like it's gonna be Bucks and Knicks in the first round, which should be good.
Yeah.
Knicks are starting to get healthy at the right time. Jalen Brunson, goodness gracious, knows we need him to be obviously the tip of the spear. Yeah, I mean, anything about the Eastern Conference stand out to you, Lee, except for obviously your Sixers being at the bottom again?
No, I mean, look, you want to see the Knicks come out of that side, but it's so top heavy, dude. You know how I feel about basketball. It's just tough. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and the same thing in the West. The Lakers have fallen off a little bit, but they're still the 4 seed. And although less teams have been eliminated, you're going to start to see a lot more teams be eliminated very shortly. The Suns are the one team that might still be able to make any noise and get into the play-in tournament. They're only a game back of the Kings.
Yeah, they play in tournament. 10 p.m.
Yeah,
playoffs.
Yeah, it just one of the other terrible things to come out of COVID is the play-in tournament.
Yeah, you should not have more than half your league make the playoffs.
No,
that's not correct to me.
Not at this point.
A lot of people say half is too much.
Yeah, no, but yeah, at this point, it's ridiculous when you have 2/3 of the league. So again, really just anyway. So yeah, so that's it on the NBA side of things as their regular season wraps up, and of course we move now to hockey and their regular season moving wrapping up. We got a couple of before we look at the standings. Of course, the two big stories. Alexander Ovechkin, 5 goals to go. Lee, he's 5 away from history.
I think he's going to do it, right?
I think so too. They've got what 8 games? Let's see. I think 8 games.
He's going to
9
do it.
games,
barring injury. I do think he's going to do it because number one, Gretzky's going to start following him around soon on the team plane. That's going to add some pressure to him to score. Yep. His team's going to do everything they can to get him the puck. They're clearly in the playoffs. This is the exact dream scenario you want.
Yeah.
And I was 100% correct that he's not going to get to 900 this year.
Yeah, no, he won't get to 900. No, unless he says he gets like 2 hat tricks in the last 2 games of the season or something. That's not happening.
Right. It's insanely. Yeah. But he is going to break the record, I think, before the end of the season.
Yeah. He needs to average a goal every other game to do so. And he's on that pace. So, again, like you said, as long as he remains healthy down the stretch here, he should.
I'm saying again, everyone is going to send him the puck. Like, he is going to get so much.
Every power play, every shift with an empty net. Like,
yeah, like again, and it's time to break it. He's good to go here. Like it's going to be exciting. So I'm really excited about that. There are some people that are criticizing Ovechkin right now, like it's a style of play, but I'm like, whatever, guys. This guy's the greatest goal scorer of all time.
By the way, he's also about to become the all-time hits leader of all time.
Yeah, that's a unique mix.
Yeah, he's still playing with power, right? He may have lost half a step, but he's still one of the best players, if not the best player when he's on the ice.
Oh, yeah, he's not as fast as he was 10 years ago. But he's
still strong, and he's still got the scoring touch. Yeah.
And keep in mind, too, he would have broken already if he didn't break his foot earlier in the year.
Yeah. No,
this guy broke his foot, came back in record time, and he's doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's unbelievable. And, people need to get off of him. Well, somebody who won't be around to see the record getting broken, at least possibly from the bench, is John Tortorella has been fired once again by the Philadelphia Flyers now. That gives them 5 teams, I think. In his
that's and sometimes you've been fired that many times. That's a sign of how good you are. Keeping in mind, Scotty Bowman was fired several times as well. But a couple of things led to this. Obviously, the Flyers' performance down the stretch. There was a comment made by Tortorella where he kind of took accountability for where the team was at, but also said that I don't really want to coach a team in this situation. But I think the straw that broke the camel's back was apparently got in a little bit of altercation with Cam York, one of our players. Cam York, who that entire game dressed the day after he was fired. Something happened between him and Torch, and the reports I'm hearing are that Torch said that, if you re-sign here, I'll bury you. But there was an altercation that led to that's enough. And again, the player punishment continued after the firing. That's very interesting. Now, with that said, Torch is gone. I really like John Tortorella. We'll see what happens with him. I don't think he'll ever coach again. And, it didn't sound like he wanted to after this job. Yeah. But Matvei Michkov has scored like 3 to 4 points a game ever since
he has had an offensive explosion.
Looking for that rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Which he might not get because there's Hutton out in Montreal is like leading defenseman in points right now. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. And the kid from San Jose has fallen off.
Celebrini. Yeah. It's pretty common for kids to fall off, but Michkov has come back to life.
Yeah. It's also hard for folks to kind of like fight down the stretch when the case of the Sharks, you're the worst team in the league. I can imagine that's a morale killer.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. It's going to be interesting. Quickly speaking of the standings, Michkov is probably the front runner for Rookie of the Year. You're not wrong.
I think he deserves it, but that's rookie out of Montreal, man. He's right there as well.
Yeah. We'll get to Montreal in a second. Quickly looking at the standings, the only teams eliminated so far for the playoffs are all in the West. The Kraken, the Preds, the Blackhawks, and the Sharks all eliminated. The Ducks are going to join them shortly. But the West, kind of like in the NBA with a lot of the teams, everything seems to be set. The Flames still have an outside chance, but Lee, we talked about the Blues last week. They now on a 9-game winning streak.
Yeah, they're surging right now.
Yeah, they are surging at the right time. They are climbing the standings. I mean, at this point, they might even leapfrog Minnesota for that number 1 wild card spot. But otherwise, everything else seems to kind of be locked in. You're going to have your 3 teams in the Pacific. Looks like the Golden Knights are going to win that division. The only possible change will be, will the Kings host the Oilers or will the Oilers host the Kings in the first round? And then can the Stars, who have an outside chance of catching the Jets for the division, actually do so? They're only 4 points back with 8 games to play. But the Jets 7-3 in their last 10, the Stars 7-1-2. When one team wins, the other team wins. So that's going to be a tough stretch run there. But they have clinched playoff berths. They are in. But yeah, the Wesley, aside from again some possible seeding movement, seems to be pretty much taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think a lot depends on. Calgary has some breathing room. They have a few games at hand, so I don't think they're completely out of this race. But again, the cream rises to the top. That could be the theme for the whole episode today. The West is kind of locked in, and I think your front runners there are the ones to look out for. I mean, Winnipeg, it was very disappointed in the playoffs last year, so I'm looking for them to kind of take off a little bit. You just can never count out Colorado, Vegas, Edmonton. I mean, a lot of star power in this playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean that's the thing. If Winnipeg and Hellebuck play to their potential, obviously they're a favorite. But like you said, like honestly, anybody besides the wild card teams, and even if Bennington plays like Bennington can play off Bennington, like honestly, anybody. The only team I don't believe in the West is the Wild. That's the only team that I don't believe in being able to do anything. Right? Like, sorry, Minnesota. I think you're out in the first round. Everybody else, if you told me they're going to win, I could believe it.
I'm looking at. Sorry, I didn't realize you were going to stop there. Right? I'm just looking at some of the win ratios. I mean, the hottest teams right now going into the playoffs, if they started today, are Winnipeg, Dallas, Vegas, and the St. Louis Blues. When you go in hot, sometimes that works. Everybody else is doing okay. When you look to the Eastern Conference, though, man, that is back and forth every day right now, especially in the wild card race.
Yeah, I mean, the divisions are a little more, like, at least the Metropolitan is basically going to be locked as Caps 1, Hurricanes 2, Devils 3, right? That is basically all but clinched at this point.
That is clinched, in my opinion. This wild card spot is a race between, 5 teams right now. And, it's funny. The Islanders have lost 5 in a row, just losing their way out of a playoff spot. Yep. And the Rangers are just trying to find a way. I mean, they're winning, but they got to put a few wins together here.
Yeah, well, the Rangers had a real rough road. Like, the worst time for a California road trip for a New York team happened, obviously, right now. They went 1-1-1 in California between the Kings, Ducks, and Sharks, including, honestly, they should have beat the Ducks, but they blew the lead late and then lost in overtime. And that's a big point right now because Montreal, they're tied with Montreal, but Montreal has a game in hand. You mentioned Montreal. I mean, minus 26 goal differential, but right now they are holding on to that last wild card spot for the honor of what will likely be losing to the Caps in the first round. But I mean, the Blue Jackets are right there with they're 2 points back with 2 games in hand. The Red Wings, again, it just doesn't seem like anybody in the East wants to get on a streak to really take control of that last wild card spot. And you hate to say it, but like, Lee, I mean, the thing is it's sad is that you've won 3 in a row with the Flyers, but you only got 6 games to go. And
it's not enough. Back. It's just not. Yeah. Well, they lost, I think, 9 in a row or something crazy.
Right.
Like that. We talked about that. You can't do that this time of year. Like, you can go 500 and survive, but I really think New York is going to be the team that makes it in. I mean, again, Montreal is surging right now, but we will see, man. Again, you can't count out both Columbus or Detroit. I mean, they're all in this hunt right now, and oddly enough, so is the Islanders. But it's just, I think that they're at the bottom of that pile for obvious reasons. But it's exciting. But again, I think this is also a division of like the wild card team is probably not going to be the team that gets too far in the playoffs. I think you're looking at again, the Toronto, Tampa Bay, Florida. That division is insane.
It's a meat grinder.
And then in the Metro, Washington, Carolina, New Jersey, I can't tell you who's coming out of that one. All right, my money would be on Carolina, believe it or not.
No, I would bet on Carolina as well in that one. But I mean, if the Caps take on whether it's Montreal or the Rangers or Columbus, Washington should handle them easily.
Yeah.
And then the Senators, I think the Senators will put up a good fight against the Leafs if the Leafs should hold on to that division. But again, I mean, I think the Leafs should advance.
Ottawa could very much beat the Leafs. You never know with the Leafs.
That is true. It is Toronto, so you never know.
I'll say this though, that when I look at Washington, like they have outscored every other team in the league by quite a bit. When you look at the 32 teams, there's only a couple of them pacing with them.
Yeah.
If you shut that scoring down, which, let's be honest, I don't know how much Ovechkin's going to go into the playoffs and do what he's doing now. It's a different race. Yeah. So he's a competitor, don't get me wrong, but it becomes a different game suddenly, right? So we'll see. I'm not against watching the Capitals go far. I mean, that would be cool. I did not expect them to be this good.
No.
At all. The second best team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, they're only 3 points back of Winnipeg for the President's Trophy, which is obviously still up for grabs. But again, then they're going to be playing hard on the stretch for Ovechkin. Maybe they grab that, but it's going to be interesting to see. And to your point, the only team that's even come close to scoring as many goals as them is Tampa Bay, only 2 away. But everybody else is significantly behind those two. But it's going to be the East is going to be interesting. The last team that sneaks into the wild card, I think it's just going to fight for the honor of losing to Washington. And then I think every other matchup is going to be a meat grinder, right? It's just. You can be battle tested if you.
I think the Rangers could beat the Capitals. I actually believe that
they could. I mean, we've done it before many times in the past, but to your point, it's going to be what kind of momentum does Washington have going into the post? Do they have a letdown after Ovechkin breaks the record?
Yeah,
right?
and that is very possible. I'm going to say it's also possible they go the other way though too.
Yeah, and just keep on going, keep on flying high. So
flying high like you're chasing a roadrunner.
Yeah, here you go. Speaking, that does it for the geek or the sports section. Moving into the geek section now, this is a lot of positivity this week. Some great announcements, some things coming back to life, things being brought back. We kick it off with Coyote versus Acme that has officially been saved by Ketchup Entertainment for $50 million. They have bought it from Warner Brothers. They will distribute it to theaters next year. They have said sometime in 2026. The date hasn't been locked down. And this is just phenomenal news. This is hot on the heels of the success of Looney Tunes, The Day the Earth Blew Up. And great on Ketchup Entertainment, who I never heard of before this. But they again, they did the Looney Tunes movie that just came out. They are champions of old school animation. They've been champions of this film. And the fact that we are finally going to get this and that Zaslav and his butcher fingers are finally letting it go. This is fantastic news. This is great to hear. This is great for animation. This is great for the movie industry. This is great for creative people everywhere. And screw you, Warner Brothers. Lee, your thoughts?
Again, to have art put behind bars
for
and not released, it doesn't make any sense. It's not correct. So good on, hopefully it sets a trend. And, again, the lives affected by this. It just blows my mind that they were willing to do that. So good on Ketchup for bringing this out. And we all have to go see it now.
We have to. Yeah. And I absolutely will. 100%. This is beautiful, beautiful news. And look, if it's anything as good as Looney Tunes The Day the Earth Blew Up, people are going to love this.
Yeah.
You're going to absolutely love it. So, speaking of things that people love that are now coming back, this was a huge deal in the game.
Out of nowhere, from the top rope.
Yeah, out of nowhere. After 7 months, they shut down in August of 2024. They were the last gaming print magazine, and really the greatest gaming print magazine. You could make the argument, at least in terms of its longevity and whatnot. GameStop shut them down in August 2024. Gunzilla Games, I never heard of before this. Again, little developer coming out of nowhere is bringing back Game Informer, and in proper way is saying they will operate independently of the game developer. And Game Informer is coming back later this year. It's official. Actually, technically, it's already back. The website is back up and running, but they will be back in full force with print mags and the whole 9 yards. They will be back later this year. This is a big, big deal for the game industry, for games journalism, which of course has been just gutted the last several years. I think we'd said that there's maybe 40 full-time game journalists left in the industry, which is just nothing. Everybody else is either freelancers or guide writers, which there's nothing wrong with writing guides, but this is a big deal. And if they get to do the good journalism that they've been known for years, this is a win for the gaming industry and gaming coverage in general. And this is kind of a gaming journalism, at least for a little bit, is having a little bit of a renaissance. So,
any interest, Ray?
In what?
You were a game journalist.
I mean, I'm not going back to game journalism unless they pay me a lot of money.
Interest, Ray? I
mean, sure. I would love to do reviews for a lot of money. Can I have a lot of money?
Why don't I have to ask them?
Yeah. I mean, look, if people need reviews, I'm working very hard on Assassin's Creed. I'm 30 hours into the new Assassin's Creed. I'm nowhere close to done beating it. It is massive. It is huge. Huge.
I don't know if I have the patience for that anymore.
Here's the thing. I don't think I do. And then I start playing it. I'm like, I'll play it for an hour. And then I look at the clock and 4 hours have gone by. And I'm like, damn it.
Well, it's going to be like when GTA comes out. It's like that map is so big. It's going to take you years to years. Like they're building it for years.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the map is massive. It's going to be massive in GTA 6.
Can you imagine the amount of stuff they hid in that map?
Yeah.
It's going to take years for people to figure it all out.
Well, the stuff they've hidden in Assassin's Creed. Lee, I think I'm maybe a third of the way through the game at 30 hours. Like this is by far going to be the biggest Assassin's Creed for me. Like, I mean, maybe it comes like a snowball rolling downhill. It picks up speed going to the finish, which has happened in previous games before too. But and I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong. I'm loving every second of it. Most seconds of it. I'll give a full review, but when I'm done, I'm really enjoying it, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. It's a lot. And this brings me up to my next story with Ubisoft. Ubisoft, who have been in dire straits, although Assassin's Creed is doing well, Ubisoft has announced that they are teaming with Tencent. Tencent will own, I believe, a quarter of the company. Of course, the big Chinese development and investment group, Tencent. They are starting a new subsidiary that will focus on big franchises like I think it's Far Cry, Rainbow Six, and yes, Assassin's Creed. And they're getting $1.25 billion from Tencent. And I'm not going to lie, I really believe that this is just going to be the beginning of the end of Ubisoft. Possibly. I think they're going to use this as a way to take over Ubisoft totally in general. But we'll see what happens. But at the very least, this keeps Ubisoft as Ubisoft for a while. But that is big that this company, this subsidiary, will focus on these three massive franchises, in particular Assassin's Creed, which we already know the next game is called Hex. Assassin's Creed Hex, that rumors are saying they're targeting the 2027 release. That will now probably fall under the purview of this subsidiary. Lee, what are your thoughts on Ubisoft kind of diversifying and divesting itself to kind of stay afloat and stay independent?
Well, it's movers and shakers, right? Like the industry waves continue to shake and you're going to see movement in the water, right? But as people try and survive, you just got to beware of the shark attacks. That was a lot of punning in that statement, but it's true.
No, you're not. Yeah, you're absolutely not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. A lot of waves being made in games. And you know who's making the biggest waves of all right now?
Is it Nintendo?
It is Nintendo.
Because Nintendo just did a random Nintendo Direct out of nowhere.
Yes. And they're going to have we're going to have another Nintendo Direct tomorrow.
Right.
Just dedicated to the Switch 2. But this Nintendo Direct that came out of nowhere last week showed us a lot of Metroid Prime 4, which basically making sure that it's going to come out. They're promising it's going to come out this year.
Yeah, that's good.
More of Pokemon Z to A, that it's going to have a ranking system that you start as rank Pokemon Trainer Z and you want to move up to A, giving you length, and also taking in some of the mechanics of the Legends game that we saw last time, so you get to catch Pokemon in a different sense. That's coming out this year. They confirmed that is definitely happening this year. They announced they're going to launch a new app called Nintendo Today.
Mm-hmm.
where basically, actually, I think the app is already launched, where they basically said, you guys have loved the directs for the last 10 years so much. Download the app, and we're going to give you Nintendo news directly from us every day.
That's pretty cool.
Which, of course, hurts things like Game Informer and whatnot.
Well, it's just you got to report your own news. You don't need to wait on Game Informer anymore.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is that Nintendo's like, you love news from us? We're going to give you news every day. Every day. Even if it's something small, like on this day and 35 years ago, Miyamoto came up with this idea or whatever, like little tidbits or something, but you will get news every day through this app. Nintendo being like, you love the directs, we're going to make the directs even more direct.
Well, and it's just them understanding their fan base and their audience and continue to grow that trust. And that really is why Nintendo gets set apart, man. Like they just understand it. They get it. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft tries to follow suit with this. I have no hopes of PlayStation doing that.
No, absolutely.
Today's PlayStation today, something else broke. Sorry.
Yep. We got attacked. Our DDoS got attacked again. On 2 years
Sorry.
Yeah. And the other huge, massive news. I'm super excited for this because we knew Metroid Prime 4 was coming.
Right.
We knew Pokemon Z to A was coming. These had been announced. We got to see deeper looks of them. They look great. Marvel Cosmic Invasion. An old school Marvel side-scrolling beat-em-up that reminds you of the X-Men arcade. I am on board. It's made by the same guys who did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Like, let's go! And that's coming out this year. And that's coming on all systems. It was announced for Nintendo, but that will come to all systems.
I love a good button smasher, buddy.
Yes! Let's go! Marvel, big year in games. Marvel getting ready. On top of Marvel Rivals, which, by the way, don't forget, folks, it's April Fool's Day. If you're hearing this on April Fool's Day, Marvel Rivals released in the game a Venom twerking emote in honor of April. It is a real emote. You can keep it forever, but you got to download it today on April Fool's Day. Nobody wants to see Venom twerk.
No.
Well, some people. I guess some people.
A few people might.
Anyway, I mean, I guess that's the new teabagging. That'll be the new teabagging.
Wow, no, I think it's a different. Well, maybe. Yeah.
Right in games, right? Like you have Venom twerk on you after he kills you. Anyway,
I don't want to speculate.
No, I don't want to speculate either. Old school Halo players know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, talking about Marvel though, we're gonna wrap up with Marvel. Go back to movies. We're gonna wrap up. We started with a terrible movie company in Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Although, again, catch up, good movie company doing the right thing.
Yeah, now let's talk about Disney.
And now we're going to talk about Disney. And they announced, very slowly, by the way, the entire cast for Avengers Doomsday, because it's starting production. And basically, it's everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to list it, because it's just everybody.
Everyone.
Everybody who's still alive that's been in any sort of a Marvel movie in the last, 30 years... Gonna be in this movie.
Yeah, some of them aren't alive. And
they're gonna they'll probably do something with them, but somehow, with special effects. But they're bringing everybody back. All the Fox X-Men, they're basically saying, our multiverse is here, it's coming. And then they also announced Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is coming July 31st, 2026, which of course takes place, if you're familiar with the comics, that is the storyline after One More Day, which was the awful, terrible, the ridiculous storyline that they kind of did in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a fresh start for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Doomsday is going to be a fresh start for the MCU. You're going to have all these characters coming out of nowhere. Everybody's converging. We've got Fantastic Four later this summer. It's happening!
Yeah, finally, after a few years. Look, when you say they're bringing back everybody, you're absolutely correct. So it's funny, they're giving us the ingredients, but they're not telling us what they're going to put together.
Yes.
But you can bet your butt they're scheduling another gigantic Endgame type war over those two movies. Still curious how they're going to get rid of, Kang. I'm still waiting for that, and I don't know. It's not going to happen in Thunderbolts. So I'm trying to wonder, what are the future releases where we're going to see something here? Because.
Well, do you get maybe it could happen in Fantastic Four? Do you have the Council of Reeds?
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense that's what would have to happen.
Yeah.
I guess they could with time, just leave Kang out of it and come back to it later down the line.
Come back to him later. That is possible as well.
But like
that would be a thought.
The inconspicuous names that were missing was obviously Loki was not. Tom Hiddleston was not on one of the chairs. I don't believe, right?
No, he was.
Well, never mind. Loki's back too. So everybody's back.
At least Chris Evans. Saw
Chris Evans wasn't there.
I did not see Chris Evans. I did see.
He'll
I thought
have
I
a
saw
cameo.
Tom Hiddleston. I would be shocked.
Yeah, you'll have a Chris Evans cameo for sure. I think we'll see Hydra Cap at some point.
It was hard because they basically released it 2 names at a time every 15 minutes. So it took like 7 hours. So it's easy to have missed. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to try and pull up the full list now.
They did do a video. List. Yeah.
Yeah. List of Avengers Doomsday.
I love that gift. Bring me everyone. Who? Everyone.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Full
People
list.
Have been using AI to create clips. I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody. Like, they got obviously the Fantastic Four. They got Namor. They've got everybody from the X-Men from the early 25 years ago. And yes, Tom Hiddleston. I can confirm Tom Hiddleston. But you're right. Chris Evans was not on the list.
No, he's not there.
Yes,
he will cameo though.
I would be shocked if he does not. But yeah. Oh, I mean, they're going to have Channing Tatum's Gambit.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I hope he continues to do that because I really thought he was great in Deadpool 3.
He did do great. It makes you wonder if Deadpool's going to be in the film.
I would be shocked if Deadpool is not there.
Yeah, he needs to show up.
100%. And he needs to break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
A lot.
Once. Just once.
No, a lot. I want all the fourth wall breaks. In fact, there's a joke going around that Deadpool was in actually every MCU movie, but he was edited out. That he's in all the deleted scenes.
I like that. That would be fun.
That is a joke. Yeah. So that is a joke that's been started now, and maybe they'll turn that into reality. But
well, I hope so. Look, it's good that they did it. They're building up the hype.
Yes.
The next film is Thunderbolts, correct?
Yes, that'll be out in less than a month. Can
you bring up the what is the Marvel film path now? Because they've rearranged it. So it's Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four. Yeah.
Is Spider-Man after that? I mean, there's got to be some other films.
No, I think it's gonna be.
We were supposed to get Ironheart. There was a lot of things that were supposed to.
Ironheart will release on Disney Plus soon.
Okay.
So that is coming up next. Trying to find this because it's never easy. Yeah, I mean, Doomsday is after Fantastic Four.
Wow. Well, and when's Brand New Day?
After Doomsday.
No way. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
That's what I'm saying. You know, that I knew that Doomsday was first. Yeah, Doomsday will be first, and then 2 months later they'll do Spider-Man.
So Fantastic Four is going to open up everything to Doom. That's what's going to happen, as it should, as it makes sense that it would be that franchise because that's where he's from, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So interesting. So they're going to.
There is no doubt in my mind that Doom will be at least an one of the Easter egg post-credit scenes for.
Well, I think he'll be in the film.
Yeah, I think so too. But I'm saying at the very least, he'll be a post-credit scene. At the very least. Yeah.
So they're going to accelerate this very quickly, and I think that the attitude is going to be. It's got to be that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be like Tony Stark turned evil or something like that. It's just they have to go that way.
And now there are rumors too that they're going to have Tom Cruise as an alternate Iron Man at some point.
Yeah, we've been hearing that for years. I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Stark, like an evil Tony Stark, somehow gets the Doom powers, and that's what makes him Dr. Doom. I don't know.
I mean, they do have that out in the universe, like in the MCU multiverse.
Yeah. So it's not unheard of. That's probably what
not unheard of. Nope.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, we will. And the thing is that we also established now multiple actors can play the same person with what's his face playing Fantastic Four in Doctor Strange 2.
That's true.
Mr. Fantastic. So it's not unheard of.
No, we'll see.
We will see. It is fun, but I need to go take some medicine. So
okay.
I'm starting to get all clogged up again after talking for almost an hour.
Well, I let you do it. It's my fault. I apologize.
It's all good.
Good episode, buddy.
This was a good episode. Yeah, we got through a lot in a little bit of time.
Yeah, torpedo bats.
The torpedo bats. Get rid of them. Something new. Panic.
Panic. Baseball.
2.61 inches. Anyway, on that note, I'm Ray. Thank you all for tuning in as always. This has been another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. Torpedo bats!
Uh-oh.